What's going on, everybody? We are the Cinefanatics, and we are live with... This is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We are live with the Fat Wuss right here on the Cinefanatics channel. Yes, that is what the show is called, because I'm not saying this every, 5 seconds or so.
This may get us canceled.
Look, we're not offending anyone. I mean, if you are a fat wuss, you probably keep it quiet, you know.
Stop. No. Okay, we're done.
I'm completely joking on that. Just no offense to anyone like that. Anyways, it's a Falcon and Winter Soldier, not anything else. So, we are back after 2 weeks. 2 weeks after doing these shows and talking about WandaVision, we're now here to talk about where we will find Mephisto and Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
He's everywhere, man.
Everyone's already doing that joke. Okay, never mind. What's going on, y'all? We are the Cinefanatics. My name is Robert Adams.
Guys, I'm Chris Adams, and I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty to talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
That's right. So... yeah. Right off the bat, I would say this was a really good show, and I really want to talk about certain aspects of it. But before we actually start the show, I forgot how you run one of these 2 weeks later, and I'm just completely forgetting how this is done.
Woo. Woo.
Yeah. Before we get started with this, spoiler warning. If you have not watched this episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, if you have not watched this, we're going to spoil it. I'll be honest, there's really not too much to spoil here. I mean, the title alone gives it away. It's got Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
This is about Falcon and the Winnie Soldier.
The what? The Winnie Soldier?
Falcon and the Winty Soldier.
That's funny. Anyways.
I'm just going to call the show Falcon.
Yeah. So all of y'all in the chat who are here watching this, thank y'all for being here. Yeah, possibly. Whatever.
I'm soon, hopefully.
Yeah. Just to save us some time. Let's just get this over with so we can go find some other hobby to get into.
I'd like to hit 1 million subscribers on this channel before we get there.
And then we can just retire.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Anyways, thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for watching this. Anyone has questions, comments, anything you want us to highlight, there is streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. That's the best place to go. You could also do the super chat for YouTube, but Streamlabs would be best. Also want to shout out patreon.com/cinefanatics. Hop on the Patreon, join the tier that you would like to join on there. Coming up at the end of this month on the 27th, we will be doing our watch along of Kong Skull Island. That's if you're at the dude tier. Tomorrow night is not a Patreon watch along, but tomorrow night we will be doing a watch along, and I don't have it loaded up here, but we will be doing the watch along of the Not the Snyder Cut Justice League. That is going to be public tomorrow night, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. Come back. We're going to have some fun. If you haven't watched the Snyder Cut, though, we'll probably make some comparisons to that. So you might want to cram in that 4 hours in the next 24. That sounded about right. I didn't know math was going to be involved on this episode tonight. I'm sorry, guys. So
the other 20 hours, do what you want. If you want to sleep, that's fine. But 4 of those hours probably should be dedicated to the Snyder Cut if you want to watch along with us.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's jump into this episode. This episode was called New World Order. What are your overall thoughts, Chris?
Overall,
I need to drink water.
Yeah, first of all, juxtaposition between this and WandaVision, it's gonna happen. People are gonna make comparisons right now because WandaVision was the first Marvel show out of the gate.
Even though this was supposed to be.
Even though this one was supposed to be. First of all, I like that WandaVision ended up being the first one out of the gate because it really just threw us right into the middle of what Marvel can accomplish in a show format, in an episodic format, even though technically the MCU is kind of episodic in nature. This is giving us a little bit more of a grounded show. It's more based in action. It's going to be kind of like a spy thriller type situation. And they're giving us more grounded heroes. even though it's kind of a joke if you think about it, with Falcon, who flies, and Winter Soldier, who punches things. What I like about this first episode, and kind of what I'll say right off the top, is even though we're only getting, I believe, 6 episodes in this show, they are not really in an all-fire rush. They gave us that sweet action sequence at the beginning just to kind of get us into it, and we'll talk about that. But what I like about this show, this first episode, is that they took their time with it. They have Falcon and Winter Soldier separated, and they're doing a deep dive into where those characters are at, what they're going through individually before they bring them together. They're spending their time on that, and that's what I really enjoy, because it's an example of what these shows can do. Give us that deeper character work, and they're choosing to do that individually first to give us that real deep insight into each one of them before we do the fun Marvel team up action stuff.
Yeah, I agree. So at the beginning of this, I kind of like the fact that we're essentially starting off with Falcon. Right off the bat, opens with him, I guess, like in a hotel room, ironing his clothes, looking at the shield, trying to figure out what to do with the shield. Right before, I assume this is right before he has to go make this speech at the Smithsonian. It's like this is basically him where he's at right after Endgame. Like we're basically looking at him trying to go through like a daily routine of some sort while trying to come to terms and grips with what it means to now own that shield, to be the one worthy of having the shield. He can pick it up. So I like how they went into that. And then I do like with Bucky, what Winter Soldier, what they're doing on this is just removing him from the movies. A lot of the stuff he's been stuck in really hasn't been about him developing. We saw him go off to Wakanda and kind of heal himself, and then the next time we see him, it's when the action is going to Wakanda anyway. So we've seen his character only find itself in the stories, the movies that the movies are telling. We haven't been able to see how is he coping, how's he dealing with everything now that he's understanding he's now his regular self, but still trying to figure out what he did as an assassin for hire under hypnosis type of thing. So I like where this is starting off right off the bat.
Yeah.
So
it's giving us a good, like, rounded look at what these two characters have been doing, what's going through their heads. I mean, obviously we're gonna dive into each of their stories individually here, but I really like the I'm gonna use this word again, the juxtaposition of the two stories happening at the same time. You know,
watch Sam and Bucky do nothing.
I'm not gonna be out here blaming her. I'm not blaming her.
So anyways, diving into this episode, we start off with after that little shot of Falcon, we see him diving into a mission in which he's having to go rescue a person from essentially he's having to rescue this military person from Batroc, who makes a great return in the series. I completely forgot that he was going to be in this.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about it before. I'm like, oh, cool. They're going to bring Batroc back. And I completely forgot until watching this episode. I was like, Batroc? Oh, that's right. He is in this. So I love that whole bit. Everything here. So you had like Falcon on going towards the jet. Him making use of Red Wing is... I love it because they actually put some characterization to Red Wing here. He's not just a drone. He is something that I'm actually referring to as a he. Like it is a central character on its own, or at least that's the way, because that's how Falcon talks about him. That's how we do as well. So,
and kind of, there's a weird balance in that for me. He's kind of a him, but at the same time, he's definitely still a faceless thing.
Well, I like it because in the comics, it is a bird. It is a falcon.
Yeah, but if they used a real falcon, he would not be shooting a laser at a plane door. Although that would be very entertaining to watch. I like to imagine that we're going to find at some point in this series that Falcon does actually have a pet falcon also named Redwing, but it's not the bird can't fly with him. It can't do missions with him. He just happens to own a pet falcon also.
Yeah. Kind of like
that would be fun.
Like Tony Stark had an AI named Jarvis, but Howard Stark actually had a butler or valet named Jarvis. So
exactly.
Kind of the same idea. That would be kind of cool, but I don't know.
I don't think we're gonna do it. Yeah. I don't think it works within Sam's character as we've seen in the MCU for him to actually own a falcon.
So I just want to hit a lot of the major beats on this.
Yeah.
So that whole opening bit, the stunts and everything involved in that was gorgeous. They're showing us right out the gate that again, kind of like what we said with WandaVision, with this being a TV show, they're not pulling out the stops. They're not saving on the budget or whatever. This is still being made as if it was an actual movie, a feature film.
Yeah.
So it's being handled properly, and I like that. The opening bit was fantastic. Action was good. And then I do agree with Errolowl here. She said that they left Batroc alive to be a recurring character. I like that because I like Batroc being a recurring villain. What was it you said about him earlier?
He so what I really enjoy about his appearance in this is that it kind of gives him more than just his appearance within Winter Soldier. In that within Winter Soldier, he was essentially the first boss of a video game. Mm-hmm. It's what it kind of felt like. But in this, you find out that he's basically the first boss of the sequel as well.
Yeah. Gordon here is pointing this out. So yeah, in the comics, Sam Wilson has that pet Falcon, Redwing. He actually can like telepathically communicate with it, which I'm really glad they're not doing that.
Well,
in the movies, so to speak.
It would be interesting to see if they find a way to make it happen. I mean, literally, like they talk about WandaVision, they didn't start out with Scarlet Witch having the name Scarlet Witch or being in a Scarlet Witch-esque costume. She ended up there. So what if they find a way to end up doing something like that, and it's kind of that MCU style where it's like, let's test the waters. Do we think we can get away with this? We've gotten away with weirder now. Let's try it.
I think they'll probably do something more like where the Red Wing drone has like voice commands that Sam can give it. So Sam could be like, Red Wing, activate missile 3271. And like the opening of it opens up and you see the rotate to the missile he's asking and then shoots it off type of thing. It might be something like that, but I think having a real bird and then having that might be a little too much.
While we're still on the intro real quick, I know we got into a little bit of the visuals, the action of it, but the stunts themselves are something that we definitely need to highlight because we're talking about these guys jumping out of a plane with those wingsuits.
This is going to show up on a Stuntman's React on Corridor Crew. I guarantee it.
100%, because there is a noticeable difference in the film style between when they jump out of the plane and they're falling and doing all the stunt work in the sky and the rest of the scene with Falcon just zipping around. And there's a noticeable difference because they actually did the real stunts here. That really happened. They really jumped out of planes to get this action. And it's crazy to me because we're talking about a TV show. And we're talking about right now. So I just want to make this like side note point. Marvel, I believe, changed the game for movies in that you can create this one long lasting episodic storyline in your movies and people will buy it over and over and over again. They're also changing the game for TV because you're looking at a TV show with a movie budget doing movie quality stunts for an episodic television show. That's a huge deal. So for them to go as far as to do these kinds of stunts for it, I'm thoroughly impressed.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on from that was weird.
Also Falcon killing fools out here.
Yeah. So So moving on from the intro, we then move into seeing Falcon. We get introduced to Torres, which was Falcon's man on the ground. And we move on to seeing Falcon and Torres meeting in Tunisia. Tatooine, Tunisia, where they go over like some ideas. Basically, Torres is saying that he's going to keep his ear to the ground, trying to find out what these face smasher guys are flag smashers, not face. That got violent real quick.
Well, I mean, one of them did smash his face. So
yeah, so I mean, okay, this will come back later. These flag smasher guys are causing issues and stuff, so he's gonna keep a lookout for that. We go to Falcon. Sam is apparently decided to donate the shield to the Smithsonian, which
it belongs in a museum.
Yeah, that's pretty rough for him to make that decision. So he surrenders the shield to the Smithsonian, and then we get another surprise that I wasn't expecting in this. Colonel Rhodey, has a guest appearance in this episode, kind of helping to console Sam. I like this only so much as what we saw in the Captain America movies. Sam was like the close friend and pal to Steve Rogers. We've got Rhodey was the close friend and pal to Tony Stark, and we don't have either of those two anymore. So now it's like the two friends are like, well, let's just be pals together type of thing.
Yeah, they were essentially they were essentially the sidekicks to the main heroes, and now you see them kind of wrestling with, Rhodey's wrestling with this. We're probably going to see it in the Armor War show when that comes around. Rhodey's wrestling with the idea of, do I take up Iron Man's mantle? Do I step in his place and become the Iron Man, essentially? And that's the same thing Sam is going through here. Like, is it possible that I can step into the mantle of Captain America and take that on? Am I able to be the Captain America, essentially? And I love that. I love the juxtaposition. I'm going to use that word all night. That's the $1 million word for the night, guys. Juxtaposition of these two kind of stories between them happening. And
I think it's just a $50 word. How much do y'all think that word is worth? Donate it to the streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. We'll know. We'll tally it up by the end of this episode tonight.
Nice plug. Yeah, I like this conversation between the two of them because it was layered. It was very layered. It was, one, they're kind of talking about their feelings, how they feel in regards to their friends, the heroes that have come before them and, gave their lives essentially. But then it's also like it's an insight into the world today. I mean, they were talking about, this is after Endgame, so we're looking at 2023. This is supposed to be 2023, and the world they were discussing feels like they were talking about our reality. The world is in disarray. Things in this country are just crazy right now. All of that, and it was a nice little nod to what we experience in reality within the confines of a superhero show. And I think that's something that Marvel is getting better and better at each time they attempt something like that. So it was a very nice little moment between those two characters.
Yeah. So after that, we move on to Bucky and what he's up to, and we get what's quite possibly my favorite shot of this show. So for those of y'all who remember our reviews of WandaVision, the best shot of that show, oh yeah, Vision is just not amused. Compare that to the best shot of this show.
Bucky is confused.
But yeah, Vision is not amused. Bucky is confused. Not amused. Confused. Everyone good with this? We got it now.
I love what's happening here. I love it so much. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see what Loki gives us. Because Loki's going to give us something dark and brooding. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, he'll probably play up the I'm a victim and my brother was mean to me, so it will be Loki was abused. So he'll probably have like a sad face with a tear type of thing. If we're gonna follow the rhyming scheme, I'm just saying. So yeah, anyways, going back to this great image, we've got Bucky is in therapy, and we learned that this is like a condition of his parole. We do see he's got this notebook here that essentially he's keeping track of I guess like people that he's wronged. Yeah, and I don't know if anyone caught this. Again, I'm looking at this for like Easter eggs, but not necessarily under the same eye that I had for WandaVision. But it is kind of interesting that if you look, what is that? The fifth one down is H Zemo. Helmet Zero is or Zero. Helmet Zemo. I can't say his name, and it's written on a freaking piece of paper in front of me too. So Helmet Zemo. I can't read, y'all. Is on there. So I'm wondering, because we didn't necessarily get that in Civil War.
Yeah.
We saw that Zemo was using Bucky, but we didn't actually see that Bucky or the Winter Soldier had wronged Zemo.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering why he's on that list.
I don't... Because if you talk about the storyline for Zemo, we're going back to Civil War, and we're talking about what did the Avengers do as a whole to Sokovia.
Yeah.
But Bucky wasn't a part of that fight. He was under the control of Hydra at that time. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't part of the Sokovia thing. So that's the only thing that I can see of amends needing to be made to Zemo in any capacity. So it is interesting. I think there's a storyline there that we're still going to see happen, because obviously Zemo is a part of this show. We've seen him in the trailers. We know he's potentially ultimately the big bad of this series. So yeah, I like that. That was a nice little note. I actually didn't catch that in the notebook before until you just brought it up just now. So I was like, oh, look, it's Zemo's name. Yeah. Do we know if any of those other names mean anything, or were they just there to kind of hide Zemo's name?
I think they were just there to hide him. Now, I hadn't actually looked into these. I mean, obviously, a lot of these are like ethnic type names. So, I mean, with the exception of the one at the bottom, which was Atwood, which I guess is the initial C. Is that supposed to be like a nod to Colleen Atwood?
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, Atwood was essentially, I guess, that woman that while he's in the therapy, he's telling this story essentially of this woman that he had corrupted somehow, and now he's trying to fix her type of thing. She became a dirty politician or something like that. Mm-hmm. So that was her. That was him scratching the name off the book because he got her arrested in that flashback. So,
and maybe that's the case. Maybe what we're saying, what making amends means, is he's not necessarily making amends to people he's wronged, but also he's making amends to the government, essentially, by bringing in wrongdoers that he unfortunately worked with due to the circumstances of what he was doing. And maybe that is why Zemo's on the list, because Zemo kind of used Bucky, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I'll admit I might not be 100% on exactly what the names in the book are for. But
yeah,
we will see as we continue on with this. We move on. We see him. He's building a relationship with this old man.
Yuri.
Yuri. Yeah. Who's lost his son. Kind of a really good. I like the friendship here between it. They point out, like, Yuri is pointing out to Bucky, like, hey, I'm an old guy and you just so happen to like everything that I like too. Like, oh, you were a young person, but you sound and talk and enjoy things like you're an old man like my age. And I thought that was a nice little wink, wink, nod, nod.
Because technically Bucky's older than him.
Yeah. So that was nice, fun little bit there. The old man basically asked I guess she was like a sushi chef. I can't say it. I know there's a Japanese word for it, and it escapes me right now. But
bartender,
or was she just a bartender? I couldn't tell. Anyways,
she worked at a sushi restaurant.
he basically forces Bucky to go on a date with her, and she's all open for it. And I wish dating was that easy. That would be fantastic. I just need to walk around with an old man who will ask women out for me, because that would be great.
Yeah, someone they were talking on Ben Goddard and Alex Marzonia's stereo show last night. Someone was like, he's the best wingman ever. I need an old man as my wingman like that. But
he's about to get another wingman.
Haha, literally.
Yeah. So speaking of which, real quick, back to Falcon. We get the establishing of like Falcon with his sister. Apparently they both are co-owners of this boat and their house that they grew up in. She wants to sell it because she's hurting for money. He does not. So nice little like battle here between them. And then
siblings fighting over something. I've never seen that before.
That never happens.
Nope.
Anyways, moving on. We see Bucky is on his date with this woman that the old man asked out for him. They're playing Battleship. It's really cute. I like some of the stuff I like in here is he does make a joke. Seemingly, he's telling the truth, but he's making the joke of that he's like 105 years old.
6.
And then she asks him why he's always wearing gloves, and he's saying that he has poor circulation. So
at least in one arm he does.
Yeah. So there's another thing that happens here when talking to her. She talks about Yuri, and it causes him to abruptly leave the date.
Yeah.
Now, this part I was kind of confused on as exactly what had happened here, and I think you had the better clarification of it.
Yeah, so they show him and Yuri in the bar earlier, or in the sushi restaurant earlier, and Yuri was enthralled with the mochi, I believe, that was behind the counter, and he was saying that his son loved the red mochi, and he just kind of wishes that, that one, he could have his son back, or that he was sad that, his son died and he has no idea how it happened. All he was told is that his son, passed away while he was doing a foreign exchange student program over in another country.
Which we saw the flashback of that before the therapy. Yeah. We saw that Bucky was having a nightmare of it. Conveniently,
Bucky's nightmare was the setup to this conversation here. Because as soon as he was saying that, you see the sad face on Bucky, knowing that he was the one who killed Yuri's son. And that was something that it took me a minute to catch necessarily, because it wasn't like they weren't super in your face with it. Mm-hmm. The only thing you knew there is that he was talking about my son died, and then it cut to Bucky's face with the sad, because he knows that he's the one that did it. And I think that sets up a very interesting relationship and dynamic between these two, because that means Bucky, maybe in his adventure to make amends with people, this is how he's making amends with Yuri, is by spending time with him in a manner that his son would have gotten to, essentially.
Yeah. Now, we as the audience didn't know this until he abruptly leaves the date, goes back to Yuri's apartment, and we see Yuri has like a shrine memorial to his son, and we see the picture of the son flash back to the setup earlier.
He was triggered to do this because the girl he was on the date with started speaking about, when a husband dies, the wife is called a widower. When the wife dies, the husband's called the widower. When parents die, their children are called orphans, but there's nothing for the parent when the children die. And she was talking about Yuri, and just the emotion in that. I literally was almost on the verge of tearing up. I was like, this is so sad that I admire Bucky so much for being there, despite the fact that he knows he's facing one of his big demons in that situation, and that's huge. And yeah, when they did the reveal later, when they actually did the full on, okay, this is what's happening. Let us show it to you. That he was leaving to go confess to Yuri. He was going to go confess and just couldn't bring himself to do that. And I think that we're going to see some amazing character development within Bucky in this series. By the end of the series, I think we see him doing that confession, and hopefully, those amends are made with Yuri, and that everything is okay. But we'll see.
This is pretty cool that he does remember all of them. So
yeah.
So we're gonna follow him on his pain, his inner torture. So we see where his head's at going into this show. So we do see some more with Falcon and his sister loading up food. They do like feeding, like I guess they were feeding the homeless or something like that. And then we get basically like we're 3/4 of the way in this episode, and we get the first real setup to who the villains are. We get introduced to the Flag Smashers. We see a bunch of people, including Torres, who's basically undercover with his cell phone as a body cam, meeting up with other people in Switzerland that I guess he read like on the dark web type of thing, this meetup. And then we see, essentially, we see the leader of it. Now, this isn't necessarily, I guess, known as the leader yet. So quick background on the Flag Smashers. In the comic, there's a character called Flag Smasher. That character's name is Carl Morgenthau. This is the woman here bent over. This is Carly Morgenthau. So they changed the gender of the character from the comics to the TV show, which, I mean, Marvel's done that before with great success. In some cases, in some others, not. Ancient One.
Well,
I like the Ancient One, but I mean,
I liked her too.
Yeah. But they changed it to this. Now I say this isn't very well known because all she did was what you just saw in that screenshot. She bent down and handed out the Flag Smasher masks. We didn't see her face. She didn't command anyone to do anything. She just started handing out masks. Yeah. But we recognized the hair because the actress that plays her was also in, was it Solo?
Yeah, she played Infus Nest in Solo.
Yeah.
Which, so if you haven't seen Solo, that's kind of a spoiler, but yeah. Movie's been out for a while.
That's fine. But yeah, so we see that, and then we see this big dude kind of like jumping down from high up with two giant bags of money.
Yeah.
And then he's kicking fools around. Like he definitely has some kind of like super strength, super powers.
He owns the place.
Yeah. And then we get a confrontation between him and Torres, in which Torres gets a really good shot with his body cam phone. We have no idea who this guy is. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think there's definitely a reveal here. He's going to be somebody, obviously, but what I like about this is that he's getting a shot with his body cam before he gets straight bodied by this dude.
Yeah, he gets his face smashed by a Flag Smasher. So that's where that reference is coming back in. So it was a nice setup. We see that they're like some kind of political terrorists. We were explained by Torres at the beginning that the Flag Smashers believe that the world was much better off during the blip or the snapping, depending on what you want to call it, when like half the population had all disappeared. And so they are wanting overall to reduce the population back to that, try to get back to the way it was when half the people were gone. I guess. I don't know how you're going to do it. Does that mean the Flag Smashers have to have their own census taker to really decide how many people are on the planet and then kill that many people? I mean, is that what they're trying to do?
I may get in trouble for this. I'm going to go on the record by saying it. This might be a hot take, but political terrorist groups are freaking weird, man.
You can't have that kind of an opinion on the internet. I mean,
Like what?
Yeah.
What's your plan, bros? What's really your plan here?
Yeah. Yeah.
What I'm interested in seeing is if these guys are going to be attached to Zemo. I'm going to go ahead and assume that they are, but how and for what reason and why, and remains to be seen.
Yeah. I feel like there's definitely more I know we can talk about Zemo when he does pop up, which I'm kind of hoping, again, this is only 6 episodes. I'm kind of hoping he pops up next week because I really enjoyed Zemo in Civil War.
Oh yeah.
I want a good fleshed out Zemo story to have.
I want to spend as much time with Zemo as we can.
Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping happens next week. Anyway, so yeah, introduction to the Flag Smashers. Don't know exactly what they're doing. We just supposedly know what the internet says their ideals are, but is that what they're really up to? Because again, this big dude was like stealing money. I guess that's how they fund their little operation. But no, they were playing Battleship on the date, not Operation.
Ah, my mistake. Yeah. Is it water on the knee? Who knows?
Yeah. Although I'm wondering now how Bucky's like mechanical arm would be for handling the little tweezers and type of thing.
You don't want to lose that game.
No. And then quite possibly one of the funniest scenes, but also the most informative and heartfelt, was Falcon and his sister going to get the bank loan to kind of help save them from having to sell the boat and the house.
Yeah.
We have this interaction with this bank loan officer.
Wait, is that Reed Richards?
Yeah, no. Anyways. Yeah, I don't know who this guy is, but he looks kind of familiar.
I'm not sure what's happening right now.
Yeah, so I think my internet cut out for just a second. Anyways, back to us. There we go.
Oh, you've been here this whole time.
Yeah. So we get this guy who recognizes Falcon, and all of a sudden he kind of like fanboys out a bit, like, "Ooh, can I get a selfie?" type of thing.
You're an Avenger. Whoa! I always wanted to be one of those.
Leads us to a very informative question that I absolutely really enjoyed the fact that they asked this.
Yeah.
How do superheroes make money?
How do they make a living being superheroes? Because they're volunteering for something. They're not like doing a job.
We got a very vague answer on that.
Yeah.
So either Sam doesn't know, or Sam was coerced by the writers of this show not to reveal an official answer. I'm probably going to guess the latter.
See, there's a couple things here. I want to go with Sam doesn't really know, because I think Sam can work off of like the military payroll. Like he's still VA or what have you.
Yeah. So like Errolowl was asking what happened to Falcon's military pension.
Now, granted, he might have lost that when he went on the lam with Captain America during the Sokovia Accord thing.
Well,
but
possibly they did mention that, like, I guess it disappeared since he disappeared for 5 years.
That too.
Typically the pensions only pay you if you're a living, breathing person. If you no longer exist.
And I'm certain that given the act of God, quote unquote, event that took place, sort of, that they would be more inclined to reinstate the pension, however that is done. But again, we're talking about this. They're saying that this takes place maybe a few months after everybody has come back. So the world is still trying to figure out how to reestablish itself after 5 years with everybody coming back. So I don't think that's going to happen anytime real quickly that his pension comes back. So
yeah, government contracts, worked out a business plan, long history with the bank, proof of good character. That denial was discrimination.
And
possibly. I mean, that's there as well. Yeah, he's been working with the military for 6 months.
Yeah, and they played into that. That's absolutely part of what was happening there, and they were playing into that, and they were doing so for a reason, because they wanted to highlight and make note of those types of situations that happen in real life. Mm-hmm. But it was more. I mean, you have the banker. He's sitting here 1 second, like thrilled with the fact that he's meeting an Avenger, wanting to take a selfie with him, and the other second, yeah, the bank probably just won't like me giving you this loan too much, so it's out of my hands, nothing I can do. And I'm not saying it's necessarily discrimination on that one banker's case, but he's working with a system. We've heard that word before, a system.
Yeah. So we get let down by the banking system. And poor Sam and his sister are having to carry on. She's adamant about he's adamant about going to every single banker and getting a loan from somebody. So eventually it will happen. But his gung-ho plan on trying to get loans is interrupted by Torres, who sends Sam a message saying, "Get to a secure line. Need you to watch something. Call me back." With his face pounded in from the flag smasher. So we see this is how we get Falcon kind of like into the storyline as well, as he's seeing that.
Side note, real quick, I don't like really always want to do this on this show. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's a fun little thing to note since we got a close-up of a phone there. Again, we're in 2023. Now, it is possible, given Falcon's situation of coming back from the blip, that he's working with an older phone model, but he's definitely working with a current phone model.
Yeah.
Mostly because we don't know what iPhones and the like will look like in 2023 yet.
Yeah. So let's sit here and analyze for a moment. Which model of iPhone is this? It's definitely an iPhone.
I'm just saying these are some of the things that you kind of run into when you're basing your show in the future, and we're not yet at future technology.
It's probably very likely like an iPhone 12.
You're right into
that just came out this past October. So I mean that's kind of when filming wrapped on this show. So I don't know.
Yep.
It's pretty close to it. Maybe Morgan Edge owns that bank. Possibly. Morgan Edge is DC though, but there could be a Marvel version of Morgan Edge too. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Vernon knows phones also. So it's an iPhone XR, not XR, not XR, 10R. Say it right.
I 100% trust what Vernon's saying here. I believe that is the exact model of phone that we were looking at just now.
Yeah. That's a thick enough bezel to be the 10R. The 12 is square. Okay.
Darn bezels. Getting me a bezel.
Anyways, so we get Torres as showing the body cam footage to Falcon. Falcon is now interested in finding out more about these flag smashers. But before he can, we are interrupted by the President of the United States wanting to give a press conference and introduce the newest Captain America, in which case we are introduced to U.S. Agent.
Oh my gosh.
No, he doesn't actually get called U.S. Agent yet. I don't know if he will in the show. It sounds like they are actually referring to him as Captain America, but
this guy's name is John Walker.
Yeah. In the comic books, John Walker was originally kind of a villain, but he ends up becoming a Captain America-like character that fights on the side of the West Coast Avengers. So
yeah, he was initially known as like Super Patriot, right?
Super Patriot, yeah.
And then he became U.S. Agent. Yeah.
Commonly referred to U.S. Agent, yeah.
But yeah, there it is. That smile on his face had so much of Goldie Hawn in it. Well, there's definitely a reason for that. Played by Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell's son. And
I actually do see Goldie Hawn in that smile. Like I actually can see that now.
And I see so much of Kurt Russell in his eyes too. But yeah, that's right. We're looking at the U.S. Agent is the son of Ego.
The actual son of Ego.
The actual son of Ego in real life. This is an interesting casting. I can't wait to see what more they do with him. We obviously know from the trailers he's going to show up at a random football game at some point, and I think
a cheerleader.
Yeah, high five like the band leader or something like that. But either way, it looks like he's going to be paraded around like Captain America was initially paraded around when he became Captain America back in the day. His job was to sell war bonds essentially, and he's in the goofy OG Captain America costume. I kind of get the feeling like we're looking at the same thing here. In which case, that means he's not really going to be fighting anybody or using that shield. Unless, of course, that is actually what they were bringing him in for. Interesting to note, is he going to have the super soldier serum somehow in him?
Possibly, but I'm the thing I'm actually kind of interested in, and where I believe they may take his character, is they might make his character kind of the... kind of like the a-hole type Captain America. Like he's sitting there like, I am Captain America, everyone move type of thing. And he's just a complete Richard to like everyone he meets type of scenario. That's where I think they're going to, he's just complete, what's the word I'm looking for?
I think you're right with Richard.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the actual common like word for that?
You big old jerk.
Okay, sure, being a jerk. I think that's what's gonna happen. Is he's just gonna be condescending, talking down to people, and he's not really going to embody the role of Captain America. And Falcon and probably Bucky are really gonna have some problems with that. I'm willing to bet down the line. So,
yeah, that's
that works too. That's another good word for that.
Found it. What I like to note here in this scene, though, is that earlier in this episode, we're saying that was the president. I didn't catch that. I wasn't catching that who's the president right at first, but talking to Sam, saying it's a good decision that you've made to bring the shield in, to bring it to the Smithsonian, to put it in the museum. It belongs in a museum. It was a good decision that you decided to do that. And then turn around like a day, 24 to 48 hours later. Oh yeah, we're handing that actual shield over to this guy, this random looking dude. And to watch Sam sit there and go like, that's not right. I put it in the museum because it felt like the shield didn't belong to me. It belonged to Steve. And now you're turning around and just handing off the shield to this random who's it over here. And that's not what Steve wanted. Steve wanted it to be given to me, and I decided that it's best served in a place to memorialize Steve. And so it's one of those situations, and it might also be a tinge touching back on that whole like race side of things too. It's like, oh, we didn't want him taking up the mantle of Captain America, even though he's been a superhero this entire time. We'd rather give it to this guy over here who looks this way.
Another blonde hair, blue eyed.
Exactly. Yeah. And that might be what it's playing into a little bit too. So I'm very curious to see what they do with US Agent, where they go with him, and kind of the role that he plays in the midst of this entire story. Because it kind of feels like his role is a B story to whatever Falcon and Winter Soldier are going to be facing up against with Zemo. But it'll be interesting to see if they like intertwine, and he's got to do it, go into battle with them essentially.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well intended doofus too. So, that's the breakdown for it is. That's the breakdown for the episode. Overall, I would say for this particular episode, this didn't have like grab at me immediately right out the gate like WandaVision did. WandaVision, though, I understand it was a horse of a different color type of scenario. That was a Wizard of Oz reference. Yes,
it was black and white.
Well, okay, sure. That one was, ooh, we want to know what's going on in this. Let's watch. Let's see. Oh, there's Easter eggs. Let's watch some more. It actually had you grab it. Now I messed this up. It had you grab from the start because you were wanting to find out more. This one, we already understand, like, okay, there's Falcon, there's Bucky. Cool. We got him in a show. bring on a story type of thing.
They're good guys. They're good guys. They're gonna have to face down the bad guy. Give us Marvel action. Boom, boom, pow. Fighting superhero stuff. Cool. Call it a day. WandaVision's like, I have no idea what's happening or why it's happening.
So I mean, yeah, it is kind of different. So this one didn't grab me as much. My hopes for this series, though, is that this is going to end up going along the way of Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which was again a really good spy espionage
political thriller kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that's where this is going to go with some good human elements in it, which it looks like we've already gotten, and that's the direction it's headed. Yeah. So I'm eager for this. Again, this episode was kind of a slow burn just because it was a setup, hence why we got like that fantastic action scene at the beginning. But I expect we're going to see a lot more going forward.
I think this episode highlighted it, and it's going to show what this show and pretty much the rest of the Marvel shows to come are going to be really good at, which is diving into those side characters we've only seen in supporting roles in the movies so far. We haven't really seen, an entire storyline focused around them and who they are. And, now that we've seen WandaVision and how that worked for Wanda and for Vision, now we get to see how that's going to work for Sam and for Bucky here. And I think starting off the episode, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be detractors for it. Starting off the episode on a more, first of all, hitting us with the big action sequence in the beginning is a nice little taste, nice little teaser for what this show is going to end up being and going to end up doing. But I think it's that we got to spend time at a more grounded level really diving into the lives of Sam and Bucky that I think is really gonna show off what the MCU is really wanting to accomplish with all these shows too, and give us those deeper character moments. So very interested in seeing the future of the show and where it's going. But yeah, I'm hoping there's like some really cool stuff to break down too. I know we actually are pulling off an hour here without there being like WandaVision level Easter eggs and everything to poke into, but I'm still just as much as that. I'm looking forward to kind of diving into each one of these episodes and kind of seeing what we can poke at and go over and break down with. So,
yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for our breakdown review of this. Very much enjoyed this episode. Eager for the next one. Hopefully they do pick up a little bit more in the action, but it's not a full complaint on this episode because I understand why this episode needs to start off slow, but I'm expecting to see more, especially because now we've only got 5 more episodes to really pump out that story and get us behind like some good action and really understand why a show around Falcon and the Winter Soldier needs to exist. So anyways, if y'all have any other questions, drop those in real quick. We're going to be wrapping this up. Chris, let the good people know how they can find us and stuff on Patreon and all that jazz.
Well, you can find us on Patreon and all that jazz.
Oh, you don't say.
It's patreon.com/cinefanatics. See, I said it quickly and I messed it up. /cinefanatics. You can go there, and that's the best way to support us and what we're doing here on the Cinefanatics channel. Multiple tiers, different things you get at each tier that we're providing for you. One of those big ones is the movie trivia nights. We're going to be ramping those up, where you come hang out with us, test our knowledge in movie trivia, help us get better at it for reasons that will be divulged at least on Twitter here very soon, and potentially other locations. Also, other things that you could do on that Patreon is you can join us for watch-alongs. We have one coming up this weekend that's not a Patreon exclusive watch-along, so you can join us for that. But we do have Patreon exclusive ones. One coming up later this month for Kong Skull Island, and sometimes when you join us on those, you get entered for a chance to win the movie we're watching along to on Blu-ray, and that might just be happening for you for Kong Skull Island. So you want to sign up for that tier, join us for the watch-along. You'll have that opportunity there. All sorts of fun stuff. And then at the very least, if all you got right now is $1 and you're willing to throw $1 at us, you get access to the Discord, the movie-loving community that we're building in there. Ton of fun. Hang out with everybody, chat on different subjects and stuff. So you get to do that all on Patreon. All sorts of fun stuff to do there.
And just to clarify, I know you just briefly mentioned it, but tomorrow night we are doing a public watch along. What was that movie that we're doing a public watch along of again?
we will be doing the public watch along to the Justice League, not the Snyder Cut, the OG 2017 one that we're all going to be forgetting about very soon because the Snyder Cut is taking its place, potentially. But we're going to be watching along this one with all of y'all because we're going to be doing some comparing and contrasting and kind of maybe laughing in places and maybe wondering why WB made the decisions they made in other places. It's going to be a ton of fun, and we very much look forward to having that fun with all of you guys.
Yeah.
And don't worry, you don't have a shot at winning the original Justice League Blu-ray during this. You won't be able to do that, so don't worry. It'll be
no one wants to give that away.
Nobody wants to give you that.
No one wants to buy it to give it away. We got Gordon Post has dropped a question here in the chat. I am going to the fried chicken lounge because I absolutely love me some fried chicken. So I will be there at the fried chicken lounge. It might be a little too late right now, but I'll definitely think about it tomorrow. I might have to, no, tomorrow we're doing that watch along. Yeah. We might have to push the visit to the fried chicken lounge to sometime on Sunday, maybe. I'll let you know if we're going to go eat there. Just follow us on the Twitters. We are at Cinefanatics MLP. You can also follow us, Robert Adams MLP, Chris Adams MLP. Those are all for Twitter, Instagram, and for our individuals. You can find us at Letterboxd, where we keep track of what movies we are watching while we are enjoying food from the fried chicken lounge.
Yeah.
So anyways,
we definitely recommend
answers your question, Gordon.
We definitely recommend keeping track of those social medias because those questions and others like it will be answered in the coming next couple days. So,
yeah. So, anyways, as for this channel, we are the Cinefanatics. You can find us Tuesday nights, 9:30 p.m. Central Time for the tagline. That's where we're going to talk about movies and movie news. So that's 9:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. I'm really glad I got my time zones down pat there. So
yeah,
thanks to this YouTube experience, I now know my time zones.
Yep.
And okay, so we don't have any ranking videos coming up this next week. Movie trailers, if they pop up, we will get to them when time allows. Anyways.
Which is usually in the evening when we record them, and they'll usually be up either that evening or the next day, potentially.
Yeah. Yes, usually.
We're trying, guys. We're trying.
Anyways, that's going to do it for tonight. Make sure you like this video. If you are watching this on a replay, comment below. What did you think? Was there something else that you saw that we didn't point out? Maybe there is some like WandaVision level Easter eggs in there. Let me know because I want to know. Like,
does that cat whose paw was moving that Winter Soldier tried to stop, that Bucky tried to stop, does that cat mean anything else? Or is that just like Tony stopping that desk decoration in Pepper's office?
Those cats are actually meant for good luck. It's like waving. So when you stop the arm and you let it go, as you saw, it just automatically starts waving again.
Wait,
it's really
luck.
Cool.
Good luck is good, but luck could also mean bad luck, and bad luck is something that Mephisto could probably do. So Mephisto? Does that cat mean Mephisto?
Yeah. And the red star on Winter Soldier's arm is actually a pentagram, so Bucky is Mephisto the whole time. Yeah,
Mephisto?
We've seen it. What? Make sure if y'all like this video, share it with your friends, family, people you know who might be interested in hearing commentary on their favorite Marvel shows. We will be doing these for all the Marvel shows as we continue on. And ultimately, make sure you subscribe to this channel because that is first and foremost the biggest thing that really helps YouTubers. Hit that subscribe. You're more likely to be watching if you know when we're going live, so you can hit that bell as well. Anyways, yeah,
we'll wrap it up.
Last thing is, yeah, you pulled up Vernon's offer. Errolowl saying she has been able to take advantage of Vernon's offer before. Yeah, it's awesome. So y'all hit up that offer while it's out there. Anyways, those of y'all in the chat, thank y'all for watching tonight. It's been great being able to break this down with y'all. Thank y'all for contributing, like comments, everything. They've been greatly appreciated. That's going to do it for tonight. As for myself, as for my brother, as for the place where I got to click on the video to outro this, y'all will have a great evening. We will see y'all tomorrow night for the Justice League watch along. Peace. Good job.